It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
And welcome back to Trading Stocks Made Easy. This is podcast episode number six. You know, Trading Stocks Made Easy is the podcast that demystifies the stock market so that you can profit big. I am so happy to have on the show here today one of my most outstanding wealthy investor students to share their experience with you. She's trading. She's making a lot of money in the stock market, and she has been in the program for just a little over a year. So for all of you who think, I can't really do it, it's all really complicated, and I don't really understand stocks, well, today I hope that you draw some inspiration from my next guest. We call her in the Wealthy Investor Program Dina Dean. Dina Dean, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tyrone.
So nice to have you here. Now, you have accelerated in the Wealthy Investor Program. Every once in a while, I get people who really come in and they just go to the top really, really quickly. And we're going to talk about some of the money that you're making, how you're helping people in your family, namely your mother, and what trades and what stocks specifically you like the most. But let's go right back. Before we get into the money, let's go back to your history. Where did you grow up? What was your life like growing up?
I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, so a total working class family, no financial education around. So it's a blessing that I'm even here today. That spark was there, and I'm happy to have found the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson, help water that seed.
Well, thank you. Now, did your parents have any money in the stock market? Did they know anything about investing? What were their financial habits like?
Their financial habits were to get a job, work hard. My dad had the philosophy about saving. My mom, not so much. But she was a very, very generous giver. So I got my big heart from her.
Okay, actually, now that does make a lot of sense. Now, we were talking earlier before the show, and you became fascinated by investing. Was it somewhere in college? Tell us that story.
Oh, yes. I've been a saver my whole life because of some life circumstances when I was a young child that I felt finances could have changed had there been more of. Fast forward to college, and there was a job fair. You know, every college has several job fairs each year. And there's a company there named Primerica Financial Services. And so they were there. It was multi-level marketing. They didn't have a lot of people at the booth. But I went up to them because I had a sense that, one, now I've taken on student debt. One, I'm about to graduate. I'm going to be making money, and I want to learn what to do with it. So I went and signed up and started to learn a lot about not only the multi-level marketing, the sales that they were teaching, but some of the financial principles. So I'm very, very happy that Primerica was a company that was there because I got a foundation there primarily to pay yourself first, the first act of self-love.
Yes, that is very good. Very nice. Now, that was multi-level marketing, right?
It was.
Okay, now somewhere along there, it turned to mutual funds and then the stock market, correct?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
During that time, the internet bubble was on. So we're learning about mutual funds, which was one of the major products at Primerica. But it was turning the money over to a manager. And I was the one sitting down with various clients explaining this. So I didn't have a concept of individual stocks. I knew that McDonald's was a public company, but I didn't really know what that meant or how to participate in it for myself without having to go through a money manager. From there, I was piqued with my interest of learning about Wall Street, but I didn't know how to participate. And transform that into 2001, fast forward to when I began to actively learn about actual stock trading in 2011, 10 years, was when I took that on because specifically I started to see all of the news headlines that, this is of course after 2008, about stock market is all-time high, 10% this year, 20% this year, 30% this year. And I sat down and I said, well, let me look at my credit union statement. That's nowhere near 10%, 20 or 30%. Right. And I thought about myself and all the people in my family. I said, not only can we do this, we deserve it. It is our birthright to be able to take some of these gains that are happening from companies that we spend money on every day as consumers to begin to take profits on the other end to balance out the equation. And from there, I created an investment club called Let's Invest. We started rocking and rolling at the beginning of 2012, and we have been going on ever since and taking that financial education to another level.
Now, in your investment clubs, were you guys buying individual stocks?
No, the first year we were just doing our groundwork, getting ourselves together.
Okay.
What is saving? What is an insurance policy? how do I look for a home loan? So we were self-educating.
Okay.
Sent it out, reached out to those who I loved the most and who I knew in the community. And there was a group who came together, about 6 to 10 folks. And we began educating ourselves. And then it wasn't until later in 2012 that we started to seek other folks who were teaching, who could help teach us to take us to the next level.
Wow, that is amazing. So you were motivated, a self-starter, and willing to learn as much as you can. Now, how did you, because I don't remember because there's so many people in the program, how did you find the Wealthy Investor Program? What happened for that to cross your path?
Living Social.
Okay. That's right. We had a promotion with Living Social at the time in the Los Angeles area, right? So what happened? You got an email or you saw it on the website?
No, I did a search. Every once in a while, I would just search the internet and put in stock market education. And I put it into Living Social and Groupon, and up popped the brother.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Now, did you come to an introductory one day or did you sit in on a class? What happened?
It was an introductory one day.
Okay. And then you heard me explain, I do my whole comedy thing and all that. You heard me explain the stock market to you. And what happened? Did you feel like you could instantly understand it or what clicked for you?
Well, your delivery was perfect because I understood what you were talking about. But the most intriguing thing that kept me coming back, and got a chance to talk to my sweetheart about it, why I was so excited about investing in this program, was about the income that could be created. This was the first time that I'd heard anyone talk about getting income from stock ownership.
Yes. Because in the Wealthy Investor Program, we focus on making money every single month in the form of residual income. We use covered calls and dividends to be able to do that. So it was that idea that appealed to you the most?
Yes, it was. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, we're going to take a commercial, but when we're going to come back, we're going to talk about specific stocks and strategies that you have learned in the program. And I mean, you have really knocked it out of the park. So don't go anywhere. Stay there. You want to hear the rest of Dina Jean's story after this break because it is really outstanding. Back in a moment.
You're listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Want to learn more about how to trade and invest in the stock market? Visit thewealthyinvestor.net/products. That's thewealthyinvestor.net/products and order the Wealthy Investor's Guide to Stock Market Success audio series. This easy-to-follow 5-CD audio series and manual will teach you the basics of how to buy and sell stocks, how to collect quarterly dividends for life, plus hidden income generating strategies like covered call writing and volatility trading. Start creating financial freedom right now. Get the financial education you need to get ahead. Visit thewealthyinvestor.net/products.
Wealthy Investor, Wealthy Investor, WealthyInvestorRadio.com.
And we're back with one of my favorite students, Dina Dean, and she's telling us her story. We've talked about her background, basically a self-starter, very curious about money and positive financial habits. But now we're going to dive into the stock market, what she trades, what she likes. And I always teach people, you got to help other people. All right. So now you sign up for the Wealthy Investor Program. The first trade that you learn is covered calls. Now, when you learn, because for those of you who don't know, you buy the stock and you sell the right to the stock to someone else and you get paid automatic money to do that. When you first learned about that trade, what did you think?
Oh, I was very agitated and couldn't sleep. So after that first night for the introductory lesson, the whole world in a way opened up.
Okay.
Because I was able to see that it's no longer about strategy. It's about gathering enough capital to execute the strategy to get me to the amount of financial freedom that I wanted to live my life as an explorer and an adventurer.
Okay. Now, you had never heard of cover call writing before, right?
No.
And since you've kind of fallen in love with it, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So your favorite stocks today, the market always changes. Your favorite stocks to sell cover calls on are what?
I still love selling covered calls on Apple because the premiums are so high, $3 or $4 a pop for holding that stock at its current level of about $125.
Okay, so you like Apple for covered call writing. You don't hold on to the stock too much as an investor. You like trading it in that way.
Yes.
What other stocks do you like to write covered calls on?
Well, after Starbucks did their split, I'm smiling at that one.
That is a great thing, yeah.
I rode Home Depot on its way up last year when I came and started investing. A lot of the Dow Jones stocks that have really been climbing were under $100. And so I was more actively turning over Disney, more actively turning over Home Depot. And those are still some of my favorites today.
Okay, and do you like to sell call options that are 30 days out or a week out?
30 days.
Why do you like the 30-day options?
I like to have that bigger credit. So I know that theoretically, when you sell a weekly, you'll, at the end of the month, have a higher premium. But I kind of like the set it and forget it part of cover call writing. So if I set that and forget it, unless there's a material change in the stock, I like to not have that at the forefront of my mind and just focus either on volatility trading or something else. But I like that monthly income because, I have to say that thinking about income as a monthly occurrence is something that has stuck with me even from my employee days. So I kind of like the feel of that, the sound of that, and I like the set it and forget it feeling that I get for cover call writing where I can just focus on some of the other strategies like volatility trading.
Okay, so let's go down the list. Do you like in the money calls or out of the money calls?
Well, one thing that I learned at my first lesson with the Wealthy Investor was when in doubt,
Split it out. That's right. We say that all the time. Okay.
And I have to admit, I have been doing it when I didn't understand it. And even when I do understand it, I still stick with the basics.
Right. Now, you realize, like, when we hit a neutral market, that in the money call, I always say, is your best friend. It still brings you the income. But, if the stock actually goes down, you make more money from writing the in the money call because you get to keep the totality of the premium, right?
Yes.
So you find that when in doubt, split it out actually works great for you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, those are the stocks that you're trading. What stocks do you like in terms of investing that do you think will be higher in 5 years and why?
I do the same. I've got Home Depot. I'm building positions in Home Depot, Disney, Starbucks, Visa. And I keep some Apple on the side.
You keep a little Apple on the side?
I do.
Okay. One of the other strategy we focus on is obviously dividend capturing or dividend collection. Are there any stocks that I like AT&T just for the dividend because it's so good. I don't even mind that the stock doesn't rise because those checks are so good. Are there any stocks that you favor in terms of dividends?
I have to admit, I don't have dividend picks yet.
Okay.
As I'm trying to learn fast and furious, I'm going to be learning more about dividends and dividend capturing.
Okay. Now, let's go to the next level, which is also where you have just excelled at trading. Because not only do I teach you how to be a cover call writer, I also teach you how to trade the rights to the stocks called call options. Okay, so we sell call options to other people, but then when we turn around and we buy rights, we buy very long call options known as LEAPs, long-term equity anticipation securities. Do you like trading LEAPs?
I do.
Okay.
There was a period where I got scared out of the water, and then I realized the value of time.
Okay.
We know that options time, theta, is one of the biggest components of how we earn money when we sell time. And so in terms of having enough time to be right with the call options, LEAPs in particular was something that I became a fan of because there was some time where I was experiencing volatility with Apple, and I was happy to have had bought the time because had I bought a shorter term option, and Apple had made its drop, it would not have had time to recover. So that's a very important part of what the Wealthy Investor teaches, and I'm happy to have learned it because it saved me thousands of dollars.
That is correct. It's very, very profitable to own LEAPs. And people, when I teach derivatives trading, the more sophisticated stuff, people really want to trade those caller options because the money is faster when the market is bullish. But if something happens with your favorite stock, you have time to be right, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know what your favorite stock is to own LEAPs are, so why don't you just tell us?
Well, Apple has been good to me.
There you go.
An apple a day does keep the poverty away.
That is exactly right. Now, a lot of people, I always say don't fall in love with your stocks, but it's hard not to fall in love with Apple LEAPs. Is that right?
That's right.
Because they can make you so much money.
And so fast.
Okay. So your best trade in a couple of days, dollar amount would be what?
We're talking about one day, $2,000 on some Apple LEAPs.
Yes. You buy the LEAPs.
Before close of market.
Right. And I like to do it 15 minutes within the close. Do you put a trigger for the more sophisticated traders? Do you put a trigger on those LEAPs or do you go in and actually execute them when they're profitable?
I've done both, but with that $2,000 trade, it was beautiful because I got the text message because I had put a sell trigger on there.
Okay. And so in that particular instance, you used a trigger?
Used a trigger, and I got a text message that that the call option had been sold at a profit, and that profit was about $2,000.
And what did you do with the $2,000?
I saved half and I didn't save the other half.
Well, listen, when making the money, you're supposed to spend it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other option trades that you really like?
Well, I'm getting into spread trading.
Okay.
I'm learning more about it. I'm using paper money to learn more about some of the concepts that have come out in Wealth Investor and then some of the other blogs and things that I follow with the bear call spread and the bull put spread and things like that. So I'm looking at other forms of derivatives trading too.
Right. Now, bear call spreads are great. I mean, they require a different level of understanding, but they're really super. You use covered calls. Doesn't your mother have an account and you make money for her?
Oh, yes.
Tell the audience about that.
I'm still eternally grateful in a large way to the Wealthy Investor Program because my mom, she's an elder. She's 68 now. When she was 65, after a few decades in the registered nursing profession, she was laid off. I believe it's due to ageism, but her emotions weren't there in order to take that process through. I believe she was discriminated against in losing her job. She was able to collect Social Security, but not at its full value, for which she needed as part of her retirement plan to live comfortably for the rest of her days. She did have a medium-sized chunk of money from a house sale that she had owned for about 7 years. So not too much because we know that the real estate industry had taken a hit. But there was enough there to where she trusted me and the knowledge, and I was very excited when she actually came out to meet Tyrone and see what was happening here to invest using the cover call strategy, one of the most conservative strategies and options to generate a supplemental income for her month in and month out. And the icing on the cake was maybe about 3 months ago, where she just stopped talking about having to go back to work.
Right.
Just mysteriously. She was talking about going to work for the registry and other things like that. And then she just stopped.
Right. Because of you, because
Yes.
you've been trading for an account. How much money have you, in a range, are you able to generate for your mother because of the financial education you have?
I began generating with about $600 when I was early on in the program. And now after studying and continuing on and learning with the Wealthy Investor and other places, I'm up to $1,000 a month,
Right.
month in and month out for her.
Now, let's just be clear. This is just money that you can now give to your mother because you have the financial education and the tools to be able to do so. Is that correct?
Yes, it's changed their lives.
Okay. How has it changed her life?
One, there's no longer that worry or stress. What it is a monthly call of how did we do.
Yes.
She's
Yes. How much money did we make this month? Yes.
I get that call. I even got that call around Christmas, which was beautiful because she had an Apple trade. So there was some extra money there for her to use for Christmas gifts.
Wow, that's great. Now, in the account that you're using for your mother, do you hold anything, or are you just willing to give everything up for trading profits every month? Either way is fine.
I'm willing to give up everything for trading profits and go back in again the next month.
Okay, because for her, it's all about generating that monthly income.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't realize that the stock market can be a supplement to monthly income, especially as you get older and you don't have to physically go out and work for that.
And that's exactly what happens with my mom, who's now 68.
Right. And one of the things that we talk about in the Wealthy Investor Program is not only does Dina Dean do well, but you take that knowledge and you help someone else, your church, your community, family member. Where do you see yourself going with your trading career, and what is your ultimate monthly goal?
Well, right now, my first level monthly goal is to generate consistently $10,000 a month with this knowledge. I want to develop what I'm calling an heirs program. I have about 4 heirs, my niece and my 3 grandsons. And when I listen to Tyrone talk about his daughters and other folks who have a financial education about that lineage and legacy that they're creating, I want that for my heirs too. And so there are a lot of folks who are associated with me personally. There are a lot of young people who are associated in the communities of which I am a part of who need this knowledge. And so they don't even have to wait until after college, as I did, to stumble across a company like Primerica. They're going to get it now in their mid-teens. So as soon as they become of age of 18, their lives will be very different.
That's really great what you're doing. Now, tell me, because sometimes people say, "Oh, your students can't all be making money." They are all making money, right? So, I'd say 98% of them make money every single month, just like Dina Dean is doing. The difference that I have found in my students is that 2% that's not making money is like fear. They love coming to class. They're just afraid to get started. What would you say with people say, this can't be real for me, and it's great that she's on this podcast and she's successful? What would you say to them?
I would say that you have to start. In my Let's Invest group, I sit down and I talk to them. I said that we're in an action business. Even though we might do a lot of research, we might decide why we're picking a certain stock or selling a particular option. We have our thinking behind it, but we make no money if we don't make the click. And so this is an action business. And for us, it's a finger action, but it makes the difference between being in a position at the right time, whether it's a volatility trade, or being in a position, period, and getting income from having sold an option against your stock ownership. You have to have made the click. And so it's an action business, and that action makes a difference.
Okay, now we're just about out of time, but we haven't talked about volatility trading. There are certain stocks in the stock market when you can quickly buy them and quickly sell them. It's not day trading because you don't have to sit at the computer. The software actually triggers the trade for you. What's your favorite stock to volatility trade? Or we're in a slower market at the time of this recording. But in general, are you going to say Apple again?
Well, I have to say that I like volatility trading Apple, but I also like Home Depot.
Yes.
I've had a lot of success volatility trading Home Depot, too, because it was just moving up so fast. You can get that buck and be in and out. I'm not doing it right now because we are in a more neutral to bearish market.
Right.
And I found that with some of my other options that I had, they were just moving slower, and I could use that money for cover calls. So I stopped that strategy, and once it picks back up again, I'll deploy some more of the volatility strategies.
Right. And that's the thing about trading is like you have to kind of go with the flow of the market. You can't force a trade that's your favorite trade and say, I'm going to make a lot of money doing it if that trade is just not in vogue in the moment. Okay. So final words of advice again for anybody who thinks that it's all so complicated and they can't do it. You would say what?
I would say that you can. I did it. You can do it. And it's your time now.
That is good. Now, there's a website that you'd love for people to visit if they want to, and that website is what? www.webefreeenterprises.com, all one word. All right. Well, we'll see you there. I know that you are going to have tremendous success within the next 24 months because you've done every level of the Wealthy Investor Program and you are excelling at every level. Thank you so much for coming in today. You're going to touch and inspire a lot of people.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. That music means it is my time is done. Hey, my time has expired, just like a call option. That's going to do it for us.
Expiration Tuesday.
There you go. That's going to do it for me on this episode of Trading Stocks Made Easy. This is Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, saying, I believe in you too, as long as you get a financial education. Until then, be positive and be well.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.